All right, so what sort of details can you tell us about this investigation?
Yeah, I mean, today obviously we're acknowledging the arrest of the parents of a 3-month-old infant that tragically passed away, roughly 2 years ago. This was an investigation that initiated in February of 2022. We've been actively involved in this investigation for obviously, roughly 2 years. And again, today we've acknowledged arrests and we've worked closely with the Crown. We've had to wait for a number of reports to come in, specifically autopsy reports, toxicology reports. Number of interviews had to take place. So again, very involved, and again, acknowledging arrests today pertaining to the parents of the child.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the process. What sort of things that needed to happen for us to get to where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess some of the bigger components is obviously the toxicology reports. That took some time. The final results of those reports weren't provided to us until September of 2023, specifically trying to pinpoint, a cause of death. Our investigation led us to believe that methamphetamine and fentanyl was in the child's system and was a contributing factor to the death of the child. And ultimately, working with the Crown to determine what charge is appropriate. In this case was a failure to provide the necessities of life. And it is our belief and our understanding, based on our investigation, that the child was subject to illicit drugs being consumed in the home, whether that be by the parents or anyone else who may have had contact with a child within the home. So again, that's where that particular charge comes into play and ultimately was authorized by the Crown.
When was the cause of death determined?
I'm sorry?
When was the cause of death determined?
Well, I guess the charge was recently laid, but cause of death through our investigation, some of the results of the toxicology were still being brought to investigators in September of 2023. So fairly recently, some of that information was confirmed with respect to cause of death.
Do toxicology reports usually take this long, or was there a particular reason?
Yeah, they can take some time. Typically, they can take months, and if there are matters that are more complex, it could take even longer, and in this case it did. We want investigations to move forward as quickly as possible, but sometimes investigations do take even longer, and I can tell you members of our child abuse unit, incredibly dedicated and very motivated individuals when it comes to any child-related investigation, and we have to be patient. Sometimes we just have to be patient and allow the process to take its course. We did so. We had a number of hoops to jump through with respect to locating witnesses. We did struggle in trying to locate some individuals, which is going to slow the process down even further. We're waiting for confirmation with respect to autopsy and toxicology reports. That takes some time. And again, interviews, repeated interviews. It's not just one and done. We may have to speak to people numerous times in order to move the investigation forward. There may be other legal components to the investigation that have to take place, which they did in this case, which again slows the process down a little bit. But in the end, we've come to a conclusion where we've recently arrested the parents of the child, and again, continues to be tragic. It was tragic in February, it's tragic today, and I guess some form of closure where we're holding 2 individuals accountable.
What can you tell us about those 2 individuals?
Well, other than they have been charged. They have been charged with failing to provide the necessities of life with respect to their child, the child that they should be caring for and protecting. Based on our investigation, there was a failure to do so, and they're being held accountable as a result.
This is not the first death involving a toddler or a baby and fentanyl. What can you tell us about that situation?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, tragically, we've reported now in the last handful of months. This is, I believe, our third child-related death, whether that be neglect or exposure to illicit commodities. And I don't think I can put into words how tragic this is and how tragic any investigation like this can be. But once again, I can acknowledge that members of our child abuse unit, highly trained individuals and incredibly passionate and motivated to preserve the integrity of any investigation and hold people accountable for their actions. If there's members of the public out there that are not looking after children in their care or not protecting children like we all want to, we're going to do our very best at our end to hold those individuals accountable.
What's the situation with fentanyl supply in the province?
That's a loaded question. I don't think I can prepare to get into details on that. Illicit drugs in our community continues to be a problem, and we have individuals with all sorts of dependency issues, and it has been a problem. It continues to be a problem, and we're always just hopeful that people in this case, if they are having dependency issues or of any kind, and those issues are negatively impacting their ability to care for a child, all I can say is please seek help. Make sure at the very least that any children in their care are looked after, and look after yourself so that tragedies like this don't occur.
And just from a policing perspective, what sort of things could we do to make this sort of incidents like this not happen?
Well, I think I just said it, with respect to, like in this case where we have individuals based on our investigation, consuming illicit drugs, and while they're consuming illicit drugs, they're exposing their child to the deadly effects of it, a 3-month-old, and we know, not just in this case, but in cases previously, that there can be tragic endings, and here we are. There's no winners here whatsoever. Again, aside from acknowledging the arrest, the scenario hasn't changed. It's tragic then, and it's tragic now. And until individuals make that conscious decision to rid themselves of drug use, get the help and support that they need. I know, we all know it's easier said than done, but the supports are out there. You have to want it, and you have to seek it out. And if young lives are being put at risk as a result, it makes it even more tragic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.